You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Explore musical haunts at a free show this Friday at the Manitoba Museum. Featuring the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra, music from musical ghosts draws on the historical narrative prepared by Winnipeg musician, historian, and author Owen Clark. To tell us a little bit more about what's planned, Owen has joined me in the studio. Welcome back, Owen.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Oh, it's always great to have you. And I want to begin by chatting about musical ghosts, your historical narrative that explores Manitoba's jazz and dance bands over about a half century, 1914 to 66. The book came out back in 2008. It was the culmination of about 15 years of research. Is that right?
Yes, I started researching in 1993 and released in 2008, sold out in 2010.
Well, what a run indeed. Can you tell us more about the project? What made you want to look at this particular period? Because we know how vibrant Winnipeg's music community has been and continues to be. So why look at this particular time?
1914 was the date of the first jazz performance in Canada, in Winnipeg, at the Pantages Playhouse Theatre. And 1966 was when I left Winnipeg for Montreal to go to university. So that was a perfect time period right there.
So much of this is your own lived experience. I mean, you have shared your breadth of knowledge with us on the Classic 107 airwaves before. And I think what's so interesting, too, about this particular book, it's broken down into 12 or so chapters, like you say, sold out back in 2010. But it each explores sort of a different part of town or the province, even dipping into Saskatchewan a little bit. And not only the music, but also the singers, the venues, and the stores, and all the halls that were around, too, right?
That's it. All those places, dance halls, nightclubs, shady places, whatever.
Well, I think what's so interesting here is that it's not only an informative text, but also has pictures, a lot of them from private collections, your own collections. But since publication, since 2008, I mean, there's no getting around it. The buildings and the people are getting older. What was it like going back down memory lane to prepare for this Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra show?
It was great. I mean, the bad thing about it, of course, or the unfortunate thing, is that so many of the people that I grew up with and interviewed and everything are gone now. But this was a chance for me to look back at a lot of the clubs that I played in and dance halls and musicians that I worked with and the music that I wrote. The first piece of music that I wrote ever was when I was at Chan's Moon Room. I was there from 1960 through 66. And I wrote a little piece called Chan's Cha-Cha, which we played at the club. And it just stayed there. And when I started to write the book and write music, I revived it and changed it a little bit. And we recorded it in 2004 for a CD that I did. And now it's brought to life again with the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra.
Can we talk more about what to expect in this concert? I mean, you mentioned Chan's Cha-Cha. Are there going to be many of your tunes? Are there going to be other more familiar tunes that, perhaps people may recognize? What can people expect in terms of the concert program?
Well, the first one is The Mooch by Duke Ellington, reminiscent of the kind of music that we performed at the Stage Door Jazz Club. And then the last tune is a tune that Winnipeg singer Wilf Harper used to sing called St. Louis Blues. And all the tunes in between were written by me. Chan's Cha-Cha, as I mentioned, there's a tune for the Orpheum Theatre called the Orpheum Cakewalk. There's a vaudeville tune called the Beacon Vaudeville for the Beacon Theatre. There's a tango, the Roseland Tango for the Roseland Dance Gardens.
These are perhaps venues that are familiar to some, less familiar to others. In terms of the concert itself, obviously we're going to be hearing this wonderful music. Will there also be a narrator? Will you be narrating, kind of offering some information in terms of where these places were and sort of those fond memories about them?
Yes, I'll be narrating, and there's a PowerPoint presentation with pictures of all the different venues, some of the musicians that performed there. So it's a narrative that leads into each of the tunes that we're performing.
Again, just a fascinating look at history, and hearing that history played out live with the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra, always such a great bunch of players they are. Of course, we know your involvement with the Winnipeg Pops Orchestra. Are there going to be any sort of special guests who perhaps make an appearance, or is that one of those things you kind of got to be there and you'll wait and see?
No, the special guests are, first of all, vocalist Michelle Wood, that is performing 3 of the tunes. The Beacon Vaudeville is it was written as a xylophone solo, and Tony Sear is coming in to play that solo. And the other guest from the Winnipeg Pops Orchestra is Terry Barnett on guitar. He doesn't normally play with the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra, but seeing as how we're doing St. Louis Blues with the Winnipeg Pops, it seemed a natural fit to just bring him in for this concert.
So it is a free concert, part of Manitoba Museum's first Friday programming. 2 performances, 6:15 and 7:45 on Friday in Alloway Hall. Limited spaces available. You don't need tickets or anything like that, but certainly something to be aware of. You want to get there early to make sure you get in the door. I'm curious, Owen, as one final question, what do you hope people kind of take away from this show that's happening on Friday?
Oh, a better sense of the vibrant music scene that existed in Winnipeg. Literally from 1914 through 1966. Big changes in the 60s with the style of music changing, and the people that I grew up with gradually seeing the work that they had just disappear. But this is a celebration of the time when those musicians were working. There was tons of nightclubs and dance halls, private events, all sorts of things going on. So in those years, we had a lot of playing to do.
And a lot of playing to do on Friday. A lot of your tunes to be played on Friday, which is very exciting indeed. Owen, thanks so much for coming by the Classic 107 studio. Always lovely seeing you.
Oh, it's great to be here again. Good to see you. Thank you.